Welcome, sir. I'm going to mix up a post-workout.
I like it.
What do you got there? What do you think of it?
It is a Project Mango Black Rifle energy drink, and anything with mango, I'm always game.
Is there elk on the
There is
artwork?
an elk and some spaceships and
Black Rifle.
wings on the elk. Yeah, I'm wondering what I ate in the woods that made me see that.
All right, this is, do you do any like aminos or branch chain, like electrolyte?
Yep, I'll do that.
This kind of has both those in one. Have you tried it?
I haven't.
Hydrate, recover. That's what I take when I'm elk hunting specifically.
Nice.
Specifically this flavor. I've never gotten tired of it.
Okay, that's a good endorsement.
Blue Raz.
All right.
It's got branch chains.
Throw a little in here if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like
We just finished a workout that was absolutely easy.
it was so easy. I smoked you because coming from high elevation, I mean, I was a little embarrassed for you, but hopefully I was kind and gracious about it.
Back to the drawing board, honestly.
Man, that was a good workout. That was awesome. Yeah, the perfect amount of sweat and pump and everything.
Were you intimidated by the gym bunnies that were in my home gym?
I felt very scrutinized and judged.
They were veins running down their biceps.
My wife, everybody comes up and thinks she's either a bodybuilder or a gymnast. So You're used to it. I'm like, it's funny. I've done CrossFit for over a decade.
Okay.
And everybody comes up and asks my wife what she does to work out. Nobody's ever like intimidated to work out with me.
We are kindred spirits.
It's every time. And nobody ever asked me about the gun show. Everybody asked about the gun show for her. And so I'm just totally irrelevant. I fade into the distance and I'm okay with that.
My wife did not pay for college. They paid her to go.
Oh, nice.
I paid full retail.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, she was a thrower.
Okay.
Actually, University of Montana.
Awesome.
Shout out to the Grizzlies who lost to the Bobcats this year. I don't follow that too much, but that's a pretty big rivalry.
Okay.
I was actually in Missoula when they were playing. No, I wasn't at the game. I was coming back from your state. I was in Colorado mule deer hunting.
Yep.
And then my buddy Sam had some of my whitetails from Montana in his freezer. So I came and picked them up, and that whole town shut down for that game.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. But they lost. You'll see. You're thinking about moving to Montana.
You know, it's a dream. I think I love the idea of somewhere a little bit less busy, a little bit slower, a little more open space. Colorado's getting busy. It's full.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like that's a lot of places these days.
It is. It's getting crowded wherever you go. I watched an interesting video yesterday. So the stats are kind of fresh in my mind, but like it was talking about Idaho.
Yep.
And I'll just give an example. Like it said that they're ingesting probably, I don't know, 10,000 residents from California a year still, but they're actually losing 3,000 to 4,000 going back to California. Couldn't believe that.
Oh, interesting. So like a net gain of only 6 or
exactly. And then up here, because we right now are in Washington, but I live in Idaho.
Yep.
A lot of people that live on the east side will just be like, I don't like the politics. I'm moving to Idaho, which is quite honestly what we did.
right.
The numbers are 15,000, but 7,000 are coming back to Washington.
Yep.
So a net of 8K. And it's like, it usually comes down to your wallet.
Yep.
Like maybe your beliefs or your values, but like, for example, Washington has no sales tax on groceries,
Yep.
whereas Idaho has a 6%.
Yep.
Washington does not have an income tax yet. They're trying to get one passed.
Yep.
Idaho has income tax.
Yep. Montana doesn't have any sales tax.
Either does Oregon. So like every state you kind of look at, whatever is the determining factor. And be quite honest, like most people in North Idaho seem to be commuting, or if you looked at the freeway in the morning, like I do when
Everybody's
I drive,
coming in.
it's all Idaho
to
plates
Washington.
heading into Washington to work. But the cost of living in Idaho is higher, and like house pricing. I guess I shouldn't say cost, but houses are more expensive in Idaho.
Yeah.
Whereas the mean average house in Spokane is 390K.
Okay.
And that mean average is up quite a bit in North Idaho.
Yep.
You live not in a rural area, but it's not in Denver or Boulder.
It's a rural enough area. The Roaring Fork Valley is an area where it's strange because Aspen draws so many people, and we're about half an hour out of Aspen. It draws a lot of big city attention for a tiny little town.
Right.
And it's a weird little bubble. There are things that are absolutely wonderful about it, and there are things that are very strange about it, because you might be walking down the street next to somebody who is driving in an hour and a half to work construction, or you might be walking next to a billionaire, and you don't know. It's a very interesting place because it's just such extremes.
How are the schools? Because you have 2 boys, 9 and 11.
Correct.
Are they in public? Are they homeschooled?
So they're in public. And the schools are amazing.
Really?
Yeah. We actually got into a lottery to get into the Aspen schools. And so Aspen schools have a ton of tax money. And
I bet.
So there's like the high school has an aviation program. So you can actually get your pilot's license before you can get your driver's license.
No way.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They have a chairlift out of the high school for PE. You can ski for PE. It's stupid. It's insane. It's amazing in terms of opportunities.
No
Can you imagine
way.
that? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was ate up with skiing when I was in 5th grade. That's kind of when I like started skiing in 4th grade. And then I would say 5th grade, I got the bug, like got a season's pass. And my parents were like, you got to pay for your skiing.
Yeah.
So like I remember shoveling neighbors' driveways, and my neighbors were so like, God bless them. They're like, they said yes. I'm like, hey, can I shovel your driveway for? Yes.
Yep.
So I literally shoveled driveways, skied, and what makes me think like to be in 5th grade and to have a ski lift for PE is out of this world.
It's next level. The opportunities. So the schools are incredible. And honestly, I can be in the woods elk hunting 20 minutes from my house.
Wow.
So, we had a herd of elk walking through the field behind our house, just sitting there bugling. So,
oh my gosh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to be grateful for.
So why would you think about leaving for Montana? Why is it a dream?
Why is it a dream?
Yeah.
Probably a lot of romanticization of it, to be totally honest.
That's fair.
You have the phrase "always be tinkering."
Yeah.
I think, and I'll start to weave in some of what I do with this. My wife and I are constantly looking at our life and evaluating what we want to be working on, growing, changing, improving. And one of the things about the area we live in is that it's getting more and more fast-paced. And some of that is just the stage of life with our kids and with our jobs and all the things going on. But we're wanting to slow down and be a little more intentional and really focused on each other, more focused on the quality of life that we're wanting. And I feel like the more people that are in an area, the more there's going on. When lots going on, it's harder to focus within yourself. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Well said. I love that you're thinking like it's on your radar, because the hustle and bustle is real, man. Like we all get caught into it. It's like it sucks you in. It's a vacuum.
I think doing the work that I do, so as a psychotherapist, you are constantly tracking how other people's emotions are impacting everybody around them. And the more cars there are on the highway, the more people that are stressed out, strapped, stretched thin, everybody's a little more on edge. And when everybody's on edge, it's really hard to be able to tune that out.
Damn. Well, great podcast. That's a lot to think about, but like, you're so right, man. We should probably do a proper introduction. I think some old guy, I shouldn't say, I guarantee he's old.
Okay.
Some boomer made a comment on one of my podcasts recently that like basically shitty podcast, you don't even introduce your guest. Like, I will say this, like, I don't like to do this. Like, this is my 9th year of podcasting. I don't like to do
the sort of formal structure.
Yeah. Like Sean Ryan, if you ever watch his pod, he's like, let's do your introduction. And that's cool. That's his vibe. But like, I want you guys to be like a fly on the wall between Daniel and I, as we have a kind of a cool conversation that's unique today. One I haven't really done properly. One I've dabbled with. And this is all your fault. You reached out to me and said, would you be interested in going over a couple of topics? I was like, what are they? As soon as I read your email, I think you remember, I was like, absolutely 1000%. I'm all in. And you're all in because you are here. So what are we going to talk about today, man?
Oh, man. So basically, I'm here. I'll call it a public service announcement, right? Here's the short version of how this all came about. I have been in the woods this past elk season and helping every single one of my hunting partners navigate the tension and stress of being in the woods for extended periods of time and being away from your family, your wife, your relationship, all of your responsibilities.
Yeah.
And that causes a lot of problems for relationships. And as a relationship therapist who hunts, which is a pretty unique combination, I'm a weird combination of a whole bunch of things.
I love it so far.
I mean, just for reference, I grew up a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And now here I am. Very, unlikely combination of things. But because I have that unique lens of being a relationship therapist, but also being really passionate about hunting, what I realized was that there's no closing the loop in terms of the communication around why hunting can actually be a boon for your relationship. It can be a benefit for your relationship rather than be a hardship. And a lot of this is through trial and error. Like my wife and I had to spend years figuring out how to make hunting season easier. And everything that I offer in terms of therapy is tried and true in terms of my own relationship. And so I practice what I preach, and it's learn the hard way. And so in the beginning, every single hunting season, we'd have a tension and stress that would start building up because I was going to be gone and I'd be leaving her with the kids and it'd be time away from work and it'd be stress. And then I'd get back and there'd be a resentment tax, and it was hard on her. It was hard on me.
I've never heard that term.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but like
Please.
that's a thing.
It's a thing. And it's a thing that I think a lot of people assume that a relationship just has to be that way. And I'm here to say it doesn't have to be that way. Because I think my core message, if I were to sum it all up, is that every single person listening to this podcast is because they want to get better at something. They want to get better at elk hunting. They want to become an expert at hunting. Become an expert in your relationship. And if you put a fraction of the effort that you put towards hunting, towards your relationship, your partner will notice, and it will go a long way. And I think that mindset and that framework is a thing that a lot of men don't always embrace. I think they know it in the background that like, yeah, that would be great if I did it, but it goes a long way.
I think what you're saying, and maybe
Please.
Men, myself included, we are compartmentalizing all or nothing.
Yes.
Like we're all in on this elk hunting thing. So that means, okay, I got to shoot my bow. I have the best equipment. I got to watch these YouTube videos to decipher what release aid to buy, what arrow setup. I got to go to the range. Yep. I got to work out. I got to get the latest and greatest pack. And we're all in on that. And then we half-ass that most important. So I guess we don't have a clear understanding of hierarchy of what's the most important.
Right.
Or maybe it's just common to neglect or take for granted that the relationship is the most important, and it does require the same amount of effort. I don't know.
I actually think it's that men assume that women are experts in the relationship.
Oh, 1,000%.
Right?
1,000%.
Like you have an opinion on bino harnesses, and you would argue with somebody until you're blue in the face.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion about the best way to approach a relationship?
Absolutely not.
Right. You're totally clueless, right? So that's the thing, is that we just relegate this entire space.
Right.
And look, I mean, I realize there's plenty of women hunters out there. So, apply all of this to whoever your partner is. But I think that we just give up this space and assume that we're second-class citizens. We don't know what we're doing. And then what happens is when we have something we're passionate about, we just throw our hands up and go, well, I'm going to selfishly do this thing rather than work with you to figure out how to do it well.
This episode is fueled by Black Rifle Coffee Company. Premium coffee roasted by people who live the same lifestyle we do. Early mornings, long days, and no shortcuts. Whether you're grinding through a training session, loading packs before daylight, or driving home from the mountains, Black Rifle delivers bold, consistent coffee you can rely on. ELKSHAPE partners with Black Rifle because they stand for hard work, accountability, and showing up prepared. It's just not coffee, it's fuel for people who demand more out of themselves every day. So next time you're loading up for some energy drinks or some awesome, delicious coffee, apparel, or swag, use the discount code ELKSHAPE20 at checkout.
I have been a relationship therapist specializing in intimacy and really masculinity as well since I opened my practice. My wife and I run a practice together. I do a lot of the side of working with men, and I've been doing that for, almost a decade and a half. And in working with men, my core mission has been to help men who are struggling. And there's not a lot of places where men can go where they feel seen and heard around what they're navigating and having to deal with. And so I think men need those spaces where they get to pursue something that feels important and meaningful and taps into a primal part of themselves.
Yeah.
And hunting is that. But also, if you're trying to navigate a relationship and your passion, it's really hard to do both well. And so each season I would just see glimpses of this. I discovered it in my own relationship. This past year was the tipping point because, as I said, I had multiple hunting partners have to go home early. I had multiple hunting partners who had to adjust plans, and they made the right decision for that moment. But in my eyes, so much of that was about not having prepared for it, right? The separation is in the preparation. Part of what happens is there's a whole bunch of skipped steps long before you ever even put in for tags that men just don't think about, right? I guarantee you have a long list of the gear you're going to bring in your mind. You have the places, you have your plan. You spend all of this time setting everything up, and the same level of attention doesn't play out in terms of how you're taking care of your relationship and your family while you're gone. And so building that in is possible. But what I realized in the woods talking to my hunting partners was it was too little too late. Mm-hmm. And so this is a perfect time to be talking right now. It's the end of February.
Absolutely the perfect time.
And people are starting to look at putting in for tags. And now is the opportunity to game plan a successful year for your marriage and for your elk season.
Yep.
So does that answer your question?
Yeah. And I think it's so awesome that you are here today. I can't think of a more important thing. Most of the audience, I don't know my audience, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to guess, guys. A lot of them are 24 to 44.
Okay.
Male.
Yep.
And either come here for little nuggets of elk knowledge, maybe a little motivation or inspiration. That's cool. Maybe some entertainment, probably not much. I'm not a very entertaining type personality. I'm more of like a cut through and get to it. But I think the people come here hungry. Ultimately, there's a hunger to be better than they were yesterday.
Totally. And to be connected to something.
Yeah.
Right? This is why people like sports teams. This is why people like brands. This, like, to be connected to something.
Yeah.
Like we live a really disconnected life for most people in their day-to-day existence. And to like connect to something deep that they feel like they belong to is huge.
So do you think the topic at hand today, guys, do you think it's like this just gets overlooked?
I don't think men know where to start.
Or does it rear its ugly head when it's like getting bad? I've taken it to getting bad.
Yeah.
I'm an open book. I literally said on a pod not that long ago, I was like, my wife was thinking about serving me divorce papers.
Totally.
Not that long ago, dude. Yep. And it was like almost an ultimatum where I was like, I will quit.
Yep.
Not quit elk hunting, but I will quit doing ELKSHAPE.
Yep.
If that means like I have more time for us. Like I was serious. Because I work a lot. Do men that don't know where to start / do the men that don't even think about it, like, are they sharing the same downfall of, or is it two different incorrect approaches?
That's a good question. I think they are different symptoms of the same problem.
Ooh, right? I like how you said that. Okay.
I'm gonna come back to that. Like, avoiding becoming the expert in your relationship.
All right.
Right. So what you did well, I'm going to just tee off of what you said,
Okay.
right? What you did well was you made it really clear that your marriage and your family is your priority.
1,000.
And so this is closing the loop, right? So I'm just going to riff off of what you said there. When you think of a hierarchy of importance, hunting has to be after your relationship and your family. And so everything that comes after an inner circle item has to serve that inner circle item. So how does hunting serve your family? How does hunting serve your relationship? And when you can close the loop and articulate why, hunting helps you be a better husband. When it helps you articulate why you're a better father, then there's an incentive for your wife to make the sacrifice that she goes through each year because you benefit and she benefits and your kids benefit. And every single person, I will tell you, I've talked to thousands of people about this, even people who are caregivers who focus on the needs of everybody else, nobody does anything selflessly. Everybody has their own motivation. And so if every person in the system doesn't benefit, something's out of place. And that's the piece where I think we as hunters skip that step of saying, let me walk you through as a family ethos how we're building something, right? When you work together as a partnership, and you probably do this with all your hunting partners, which is, all right, how are we going to hunt? Right? What's your style? What's my style? Where's the overlap? How do we want to here's where you're going to take the lead. Here's where I'm going to take the lead. But that usually doesn't play out in your romantic relationship in the same way.
No, I feel you.
Yeah.
I think to help people maybe close the loop, as you say, I've been able to let my wife know by telling her and more importantly, showing her a buildup before elk season of where I'm just there. I'm present and I'm thinking ahead on any and all eventualities inside the household.
Yep.
To where it almost is a disservice because once I leave, the last day I leave, my wife is just so sad because she knows what's coming.
Yep.
Like, I'm not going to see you for, I don't know how long, 4 weeks, six weeks. Seriously. You've been such a blessing to the family. You've just been an awesome husband and father.
Yep.
You're killing it.
Make her miss you.
I make her miss me. The other thing that I do, and this is the hardest part, is when I get back, I make sure that I have taken advantage of all those slow times in the elk woods, and there will be slow times.
Yep.
And I am usually by myself elk hunting. So we're talking in a bivvy tent on the side of a mountain, a long ways from the road with no one there, but me and the good Lord. And dude, it got dark at 6:45 p.m. and I just ate my freeze-dried meal and I am in the sleeping bag and it's 7:45 p.m. and I don't have to be up until 5 a.m. the next day.
There's some quiet hours.
There's some quiet reflection time, and I have over time taken advantage of those to really reflect and be honest with myself and almost do like a report card.
Yeah, a self-assessment.
And when I come home, there's some things that I'm going to change immediately.
Do you sit down and tell her all those things?
Oh, over conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't come home and be like, okay, we're having this conversation. Here's my report. But she will notice immediately like a change in habits, where like maybe leading up to elk season, I slipped into a funk of looking at my phone for the last 30 minutes of my waking hours, or like an example where it could be just talking with her, or, hey, we're going to start praying together again, or, hey, how's this going? Better at listening, whatever it is, or more daddy-daughter dates, or, just more intentionality will come from a month in the mountains.
Totally.
So
absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing is if you can close the loop with the things that you learn while you're hunting, because I think every man gets a value out of it, right? Mm-hmm. So every time I've just sat under a tree and waited for something to come out at dusk, those hours of sitting there, I walk away with reflections on my life around what I need to change. And when I can then bring that home and close the loop, then that time that my wife gave me in the woods had a purpose. If I don't tell her that, she thinks I'm just on vacation.
Yeah.
And so being able to close the loop around that builds incentive of like, this is valuable for you. Let me walk through. So I think in terms of how I would suggest structuring, let's say we're going to create the ideal year for hunting and your relationship.
I like it.
So first and foremost, I think long before you're putting in for tags, get a year-long calendar. And you're going to sit down with your partner and we're going to look at the year and the flow of the year. And here are the tags I'm thinking of putting in. And this is called the selfish game. All right. This is one of my.
This is awesome. This is such good advice.
It's trial and error. Yeah. I've worked through this, but basically the selfish game is your wife knows when you have an agenda, right? You can't hide anything. You can pretend, you can try. It just doesn't work. Right. So instead play open-handed poker with her, right? Selfishly, here's how I want the year to go. Right? I'd put in for this tag. I would do this. I would hunt these states. I would selfishly, if I didn't care about your feelings, here's everything I would go for. Selfishly, tell me what you would do, right? You wouldn't hunt this. You'd be around for this weekend. You would do this. I would change this. And then what happens is when both parties sit down and spell it all out, usually there's a lot more overlap than there is distance. But we don't have that conversation usually.
Dude, this is so good. I just want to pause.
Please.
Thank you for coming. Like just that alone, you're taking a lot of my hard lessons that I've tried to articulate on the pod and you're making it like, that is the best advice ever. I used to play the opposite of open face poker. I would have my cards here and I would be like, oh, see you next month. I got this trip.
Yep.
And then I'd have like, I got this other tag I can't tell her about yet.
Totally.
Okay, I got this mule deer tag. I drew it.
Yep.
I'm out. And then obviously at some point I was like, figured it out to just grab the calendar, go right to it. And I'd write it on there months ahead. And I would rather have the confrontation in May than in September. I was just like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Buckle up, buddy.
Yep.
And we haven't done the overlap conversation. I'm going to do that. That is like that just struck a bell. I was like, oh, yeah, I'd love to hear what her thoughts are.
Totally.
And what is her perfect flow of events and how do they, where is the overlap and where do we need to negotiate?
Well, because I think there's sort of this feeling of if I show her everything I'm going for, she's going to realize I'm going to be hunting a lot. But the truth is you're going to be hunting a lot either way. So why not just be out in the open about it? Right? The transparency actually relieves the stress rather than solves anything, right? The lack of transparency doesn't solve anything.
Yeah.
And so that would be the first piece I would say, just on a practical level.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I think framing it in sort of the practical and then the psychological and then some of the benefits of dating or being married to a hunter is sort of where I was going at the end.
Love it.
But in terms of the practical, I think the other piece is also part of what helps your partner sign on to a whole bunch of time where you are absent is knowing how you are going to participate in the family, even from away, right? And so there's a bunch of things that if you articulate you're going to do and you follow through with it, it makes it easier, right? So for example, my wife can burn water, right? My wife is the businesswoman. She's amazing. She can crush it, but she is not the cook, right? I'm the cook.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so when I'm gone, one of the hardest things for her is meals. Now, even if your wife tends to cook more than you do, if you can make a whole bunch of meals and put them in the freezer, if you can plan out and leave a fridge stocked with easy, quick options, you're reducing the stress level and the shock of you being gone.
Yep.
So meals goes a long time. It goes a long way. The other thing is also it's a long time away from the relationship. And so scheduling on the front end and on the back end, some relationship time. So stack up those date nights beforehand, stack up the date nights after, right? And you take charge with that, right? again, like men can be very proactive around planning out elk dates, right? Like you're coordinating with your buddy around like, hey, I'm going to be in Montana on these dates. I'm going to be in Wyoming on these dates, right? People like we have the ability to coordinate, but how often do you coordinate that way around a date night, right? It just doesn't happen, but we have the skill set. So why not apply it to the relationship, right?
We can do this. We can
do this. We got this, right? We can be better. And so if you schedule that partner time, that goes a long way to show that the relationship is important as well. Because I think when partners feel in competition with hunting, it's a bad deal. But when they feel like they are the priority and you also hunt, there's a lot more room for you to get your time and the relationship to thrive. So planning out the partner time, setting up childcare. So this is a big one. If you have kids, if you coordinate some breaks where, hey, like I have a buddy who doesn't hunt and my kids and his kids get along great. So I'm going to be like, hey, can you take the kids on a few Saturdays while I'm gone? That goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. I've done that with both my mother-in-law and my mom.
Totally.
I've reached out, coordinated. I've had little spa days planned.
Yep.
And these are all surprise. They're all premeditated. And holy shit, boys.
It goes a
long ways.
Yeah. And it's a way where you can give something to the relationship. And yeah, it's money, but also like we spend tons of money on gear all the time anyway, right? I've never had a season where I didn't buy plenty of gear.
Yeah.
A fraction of that going to your relationship, flowers, a massage, whatever it is, makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So I think on the practical, that's a big piece. And then I think the other thing is also learn your wife's love language. So are you familiar with the love languages?
Yeah. What's your wife's love language?
She is.
If you say physical touch, get out of here.
No.
Okay. I've had a couple guys say that, and I'm like,
please. But good on you for actually having that conversation with a couple guys.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's huge.
It's a very important conversation.
It's a super important concept. So my wife's is words of affirmation.
Same.
Okay. So the words go a long way.
Deep. Yeah.
So basically, let me spell out the 5 love languages for everybody who doesn't know about it, because this is a key piece when you understand what to give your partner. So basically, there are 5 love languages. This is based off of a book, The 5 Languages of Love. It's a fantastic book because it gives you a framework of how to offer your love to your partner.
Yep.
So first one is physical touch, right? So when you put your hand on your partner's back, when you're walking down the street and you walk hand in hand, your partner feels connected to you. That's when they feel loved. Next one is words. So when you describe something unique about how much you appreciate them, that's when they feel loved. So words of affirmation. Next one is quality time, right? So quality time is, even if we're just like on a long drive together, that time together makes all the difference. The next one is acts of service. And acts of service are, I knew you had a long, crazy, stressful day, so I took your car and filled it up with gas because you were going to forget about that. So I made sure your gas tank is full. Those acts of service, doing something that helps your partner out. And then the last one is gifts.
Yeah.
And
not my love language.
No. It's funny. There are some people where like that absolutely hits home, but I'd say most people are one of the first 4.
Oh, okay.
From what I've seen.
I've also read a couple and heard a couple Bible studies on Spotify where like when someone gives you a gift, like my first reaction is like, I hate it. It makes me feel uncomfortable, but I need to be better at like receiving that gift because they're trying to show love.
Yep.
Because some people's love language is giving gifts.
Totally.
And if you're like a shitty gift receiver, i.e. me,
right,
like it sucks for them. So like, because like at Christmas and stuff, I'll like tell everybody, don't buy me anything. I have everything I could ever want. Don't, like, there's nothing you could buy that I'd be like, oh, that, you know.
Yep.
So I'm working better. I've been working on myself being a better gift receiver, if that makes any sense.
Do you mind if I offer a different angle for that?
Love it. Let's go.
How would you tell people what you do want instead? You're telling them what you don't want?
Yeah.
But what if you said, you know what would actually really help me feel loved is if we did this instead.
Exactly.
So like if you give them an alternative,
yeah,
that would go a long way.
Yeah. If you preemptively booked us, I'm not a big drinker, but like one night we go have a beer together.
Yeah.
Like obviously quality time. But like to me,
right,
they're, hey, like let's carve out an hour to go shoot bows.
Totally.
And have a good conversation while we're doing that. Like, that's my style. That's my jam. But it's funny, my wife, you can have multiple love languages, by the way, right? So like
Some
my
people
wife's
are
is
bilingual
definitely,
or trilingual.
she's more like words of affirmation go so far that I'm going to say like 3/4.
Oh, interesting.
But backfill with that quality time, like an intentional date night, or even just, hey, let's go take the dogs for a walk without the kids and talk. That goes so far.
Huge.
And I've been married for, I think 17 years. I don't even know. It gets blurry, but like it took me a long time to learn all this. Like it's a
learning curve.
Yeah.
And I think having the right tools goes a long way, right? That's one of the reasons we started a podcast, which was,
what is the name of your pod?
Sex and the Psyche.
Ooh.
Yeah. So my wife and I both do clinical sex therapy. As I said, we do relationship therapy. We don't do a lot of fluff, right? It's not like Cosmo's top like 5 hot tips for the bedroom. It is understanding relationship dynamics, understanding the why behind the what.
Love it.
And I think, again, like when you take charge with understanding something and are willing to really drop in and be honest about yourself, honest about your partner, understand what you're both building, what you're both working towards, that is how everybody feels better about the relationship.
Yeah.
And so the more tools you have, the better.
Okay.
And so I think that's where, again, I'll weave this back to hunting. Hunting can absolutely be a tool for self-improvement and growth and change. And honestly, I think men oftentimes have a whole bunch of reflections that get stuck in their heads and never get communicated to their partner.
No, I feel that.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I like that the love language got brought up. That's obviously...
Yeah, let's circle back.
That's obviously something that, if you've never read the material, it's a light bulb moment. Totally. It makes so much sense. And then, I mean, I haven't read that book in 20 years. I mean, it's been out for a long time, but it stuck with me because I'm not talking about just my relationship with my wife. I then start to begin to evaluate my kids' love language, even my parents. And it's so interesting that like a phone call to my mom on the way home from work, where she does 80% of the talking, goes such a long ways with my relationship with my mom. Or my son, if I can just pull him away from all those distracting screens and just go into his room and play with some sort of toy. No phone, one-on-one. Oh my gosh, his attitude changes. His chemistry changes.
Yeah.
It's science.
It's so 100%. My oldest son, Isaac, is all touch. So if I scratch his back, he melts. Right?
Really?
Yeah. Melts. He will sit there and like he's, almost 12. He's kind of in that preteen. He's got some grumpy moments. He's, and the moment you're scratching his back, he just is a cuddle puddle.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so
I'm jealous. I wish my son is like,
he's like, don't touch me. Yeah. But there's probably other times where he shows up because you give him his love language.
Absolutely.
And when you can think in that level and go, what does this person need from me? And how do I articulate what I need from them? Everybody gets what they want. This comes back to the open-handed poker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's more important than your relationship with God and your relationship with like these loved ones that we're talking about? Totally. Like in life, are you telling me a bugling bull is more important than all this?
Right.
I mean, it's a thing. It's cool, but it's fleeting.
Yep.
These are the things that I believe will last forever.
Yep.
And I think it's cool to take the time to talk about this. And I still got to go back to what you said in the very beginning of the pod.
Yep.
I don't think you realize how potent this is. Like, you start to look around at the people you're living with in not just your house, but like in the area.
Yep.
And that everyone is stressed out.
Yeah.
Everyone is maxed out and everyone is on edge.
Yep.
And like, I really felt that. I'm like, dude, how do we like recognize that we're in the middle of that shit, that rat race, and like, this ain't a good direction to lead your family.
Yeah. Sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I'll tie that in with archery, right? If you're stressed and tense, how well are you going to shoot?
Yeah.
right? You're going to be all over the place, right? So you spend hours learning how to focus your mind and train yourself to execute a perfect shot. If you applied that same level of focus to how you show up and be present when somebody's interacting with you, they're going to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you show up and you go, hey, like, how are you really doing?
Mm-hmm.
It totally changes the vibe.
Yep.
And I think, again, that's an area where I think everybody's sort of on autopilot until you level drop with somebody. And if you are the level drop, everybody will respond positively around you.
This podcast is brought to you by Wilderness Athlete, leaders in the performance nutrition for hunters. From hydration and recovery to daily health, their products are designed to help you train harder, recover faster, and perform better in the mountains. We don't guess when it comes to nutrition. We partner with Wilderness Athlete because their fueling correctly is a cornerstone of longevity and success in the backcountry. Look, if you want a more enjoyable experience, you're going to have to take care of your body. You need to hydrate, rehydrate with Hydrate and Recover, branched chain amino acids, isoleucine, leucine, valine, plus electrolytes to keep you cramp-free and busting your butt. Plus, we don't get a lot of sleep in the backcountry. This is going to help you recover faster. Off-season is a lot longer than in-season, so we're taking creatine, HMB, branched chain amino acids, fueling post-workout with brute strength, and taking the good stuff, which is your daily multivitamins, probiotics, and of course, fish oil. If you're older like me, you want to look into Joint Advantage, glucosamine, sulfate, chondroitin, turmeric, and other things to help keep inflammation down. Train hard, recover faster. We've been partnered with Wilderness Athletes since 2006. Latitude Outdoors builds mobile hunting systems that redefined efficiency and adaptability. Lightweight, compact, and deadly effective, their gear allows hunters to move smarter and hunt harder. Agreed. No, that's cool. I like this conversation for a few reasons. One, I think there's a million podcasts that you can listen to on how to kill an elk.
Totally.
Go listen to it, man. Like, I think, and maybe you have this written down in your notes, but like Daniel, I am a very serious threat to an elk's life with a bow when I'm hunting guilt-free and all my shit's dialed at home.
Yeah.
You flip that 180.
Yeah.
If I've done a piss poor job at home, I hunt guilty. I'm just not in it. I'm not in the game. I'm not as big a threat to these elk's well-being.
So I'll share a story from 2 seasons ago.
Okay.
Right. So, it was a great season out, had a number of interactions, but I was trying to pop in and out, right? So it was a busy season. We had too many moving parts. I was overwhelmed. And so I would be hunting for a few days and then I'd be popping into work immediately. I'd be trying to get time with the kids, trying to get time with my wife, trying to be multiple places, trying to navigate big conversations with my wife about business and this and that. It was 2 days before the season ended, and it was my last day out. I knew this was my last day out. I'd been at a wedding the evening before. I was trying to just pull off.
Who gets married in September?
Non-hunters.
Yeah.
Or depends on where you get married. I mean, maybe you could weave it in. I don't know. But anyway, I'm looking at the clock as I'm like on, at the wedding. I'm trying to pull everything together. My head was not in the right space.
No doubt.
And so the next morning, wake up, and again, my buddy's calling for me, fires off a bugle and gets an immediate response. And then elk comes crashing in. My head was so not in the right place that complete implosion, target panic. I hit a branch, hit him in the leg. He ran off, never found him again.
Yeah.
Right. I felt awful. I felt absolutely awful. And it was one of those moments where it was such a wake up call of how distracted I was.
Yeah.
And the disservice I was doing to myself, the disservice I was doing to my family, and the disservice I was doing to that elk.
Yeah.
And so as you were saying, when you're in the right mindset, when you are grounded, you are clear, you are just dialed, everything flows. But when you're not, are you going back and taking care of the shit you need to take care of so that you can get back to being dialed? And that's what I had to do for my entire, post-season reckoning, which was, what was I not dealing with? How was I needing to change how I was approaching to being in the woods, how I was shifting from one space into the other? So I think one of the things we don't realize is the transitions from one space to another, right? So I don't know if you're like this, but most of the hunters I know, I'd say sometime in August, it's like there's a light switch that clicks and you might be physically around, but you're not really mentally around anymore.
Every year.
Every year. And you kind of disappear.
It's a struggle.
It's a struggle, right? You disappear.
I'm trying to fight it.
It's so hard, right? But realizing that and talking about that means that you aren't run by something you aren't aware of anymore.
That's fair. But I mean, like, dude, you're describing a guy who's like thought about this so much more. And now I'm in that where like all the hay is in the barn. I just get to go get, like, I just want to take the test.
Totally.
The test, I'm studied up. I'm ready to go.
Right.
And so now I'm just visualizing unlimited reps of how it's going to go.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I need to not squander this very valuable, precious. Yep. My kids are growing up so fast. My wife and I are getting older so fast. Like, we got to, like,
a few more good years.
It's like, it's a dichotomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so what I would say instead is ritualize that departure. Right? So launchings and landings is one of the ways to think about it.
Ooh, I like that.
So if you go, okay, I know this is roughly 2 weeks before the season starts, and I'm just going to own, hey, I'm starting to feel myself disappear.
Yep.
Right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to just own that, and I'm going to start packing my gear and have some closing conversations with my partner of like, I'm going into this space and I'm going to acknowledge it rather than pretend like it's not there, because they can feel it.
Yeah.
And so if they can feel it, but you're not acknowledging it, then both of you are on edge, as opposed to just naming it to tame it.
Wow.
Right. And so when you can name it, then you can talk about it. Okay. Like, she'll give you her, your space if she knows what's happening. But if you're saying you're there, but you're not, then you're gaslighting her, right? You're being inauthentic.
Yep.
And if you're being inauthentic, then she doesn't know how to respond to that because she doesn't know which you is showing up. Does that make sense?
Totally. Have you thought about writing a book, like a little manual for us? I know that's, I'm not really joking though. Like, you've put it together in a way that's very digestible.
Okay.
Because we're knuckle draggers.
Yes.
Right?
Well,
and I'm talking about men specifically.
Yeah.
I think women, by default,
they're more relational.
They are. But it doesn't mean that they get to be the relationship subject matter expert, like you said in the beginning.
Correct.
And I really like that you said that, because I do believe men should lead from the front.
Yeah.
A lot of the times that's what we should do. Yeah. Write a book, dude.
If you'll work with me, I'm happy to.
I'll write a forward.
All right. Perfect. I'll add that to my many list of things.
Right. I just think, I'm
but
just
it's
trying
a
to compliment
huge piece.
you, man. Like, I really like
that.
what we're talking about.
Thank you.
Because it's really important to me that you utilize elk hunting to fill your freezer, sure, but to make yourself a better version of yourself. I've always said that. I really believe that.
Totally.
And now we're talking about making your marriage better.
Yep.
We're talking about making you a better father.
Yep.
What could be more important than that?
Well, I will tell you, I am never as patient in most parenting tasks as I am teaching my boys how to shoot a bow. Right?
Yeah.
I slow down, I focus. It's an easy place to be so dedicated and so present.
Yep.
I could give a shit about my phone. I'd burn that thing in a heartbeat as I'm sitting there, right? Some other task, it's harder to be present.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but knowing where you're really present and knowing where you can be real, you can show up as your best self. Why wouldn't you want to give your kids the best access to that?
Yeah.
Right. And so this is where, like, I think being a hunter, you have a connection to nature. You have a connection to the incredible spaces that were created by the divine. Right. So there's a way you spend so much time and you get all these incredible little gifts. I'm sure you have moments in the woods where you're like, this is it, right? That's my holy place. And each one of those moments for me, if I can close the loop, if I can bring my kids there, if I can be having some of those scouting times where I'm scouting with my family and I get to share those moments with them, they get to be a part of it.
Yep.
They're not separated from it. It's not a different world.
Yeah.
And when you can share those and your wife sees you light up and your kids light up, it's a lot easier to get your time in the woods.
Yeah.
Right. This is where, again, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Right. If everybody's benefiting, it's so much easier. And that collaboration rather than competition around needs goes a long way.
Now that we've changed everyone's life, no, honestly, I think you're giving a lot of people food for thought.
Cool.
This could be one of those pods that you need to go back and listen to again. In my opinion, if you're taking it as serious as we hope you are.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit less intense about relationships. Let's go into, when did you start elk hunting, man? Because you said you grew up a vegetarian.
It was a long, squirrely process of getting here. So I grew up a vegetarian. I grew up in a very different world than the hunting world.
Sure.
Grew up in Northern California, very hippie, bohemian world. And I was always starving. I was so hungry. I could eat 2 Chipotle burritos because I just never felt full. And so when I started tinkering with eating meat, I was like, oh, there's something here, right? My body felt good. But I've always been strange in that if I'm going to take something to heart, I take it completely to heart. And so for me, food is life. And connection to where your food comes from is the thing that really pulled me into hunting.
Okay.
And so I said, if I'm going to eat meat, I want to be involved in the process.
That's legit, right?
And so then it became part of my food. Like my values were connection to food. And so I said, all right, like I got to learn how to hunt. And I spent many years, I'm a far better therapist than I am a hunter.
Okay.
I'll be totally transparent about that.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's actually been really valuable for my relationship, because having to struggle through something means that I have spent a lot of time being bad at something and that being okay. So in terms of hunting, I spent a lot of years going on the annual camping trip where I would go hiking with a hunting rifle.
Yeah.
And I wandered through the woods. I made so many mistakes.
You were not mentored.
I was not mentored at
How
all.
How old were you when you started hunting?
The first time I went, I think I was 27.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's such a tough deal to have zero mentorship.
Yep.
And to try to sort it out somehow. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I did not have a mentor for elk hunting. And I did have some help.
Yeah.
But there's a big gaps between mentors.
Huge.
Big gaps for me.
Yeah.
And each mentor I came across didn't probably know they were mentoring me, but I was a sponge and I would literally absorb all of their knowledge they had to share.
Yeah.
And then I'd go out on my own, and then I would end up somehow aligning with another mentor. So it started out with my dad, who was a whitetail hunter.
Yep.
But saw some elk.
Yeah.
Knew where some elk maybe were.
Yep.
Blew on a call, called one in for me. I shot with a rifle. Then it was my uncle, who knew where elk lived, knew how to blow a bugle, but he's never killed an elk with his bow in his life.
Interesting.
And so he took me under his wing, at least, honestly, he showed me how to be a woodsman, how to navigate, and how to hunt solo and not be like afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. And then I did that deal for a while. And then I met a guy named Dave Renberg, who I think's still alive. I've got to get him on my podcast. But this old timer I met in this Avery gas station.
Okay.
Gives away where I was hunting, but I don't hunt there anymore. And there's just a lot of wolves there now. But I got rained on, rainstorm.
Yep.
I had shitty clothing.
Yeah.
This was early 2000s. And this old timer's like in the store, probably rained out as well. And he's asked me how my elk hunting's going. You can tell we're both having face paint and stuff. And I was like, I'm hunting this one bull. I was hunting a herd bull that I've been trying to kill for 2 years. Yeah. I was like, I'm hunting this herd bull and I just can't get him killed. And he's like, well, I can call in any bull.
Have confidence.
I was like, oh yeah, we'll prove it. Come with me. And he was like, okay.
Nice.
And I love Dave, but he could not call this bull. And this bull
was full of shit.
But Dave was an amazing elk vocalizer.
Yeah.
And I mean, truly a one-of-a-kind elk caller and woodsman. And oh, by the way, he was in his 70s at the time.
Nice.
But he was like, he showed me that you can hunt in your 70s.
Totally.
And keep up.
Yeah.
And he had a sparkle in his eye when the elk would bugle. And he taught me a lot about elk sounds.
Yeah.
And then I was fortunate enough to actually spend 2 elk hunts with Larry D. Jones, which a lot of you kids don't know who he is. Look him up. He's still in his late 80s and still elk hunting.
Nice.
So I had all this mentorship, and then a buddy named Chad took me. And so like everybody didn't know this, but like I was a sponge absorbing all their knowledge.
Yeah.
And then eventually I kind of like figured out my own playbook.
Nice.
But you're 27, you're a sponge, but you have no information to go into that sponge.
Totally. I'll tell you so I'll backtrack 2 years. I met my wife because of a backpacking trip.
Okay.
We were hiking the Maroon Bells. It's
Yeah.
basically right by where we live now. Absolutely incredible area.
Yeah.
And in the planning of the trip, my wife and I ended up getting to know each other. And then after the trip, we got together. The first elk hunter I ever met, we were on the third day of this backpacking trip. We're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And this old dude smoking a rolled up cigarette with a bow he had made himself.
A self bow.
Just wanders up. And he's as relaxed as can be. And he's just like, hey. And the whole group, everybody's jaw hits the floor. None of us had interacted with hunters. We didn't know this world at all. And he was so chill and so comfortable and so relaxed. He was the epitome of everything I want to be in my 70s.
I want zigzags when I go hunting. Maybe that's what I need. And a self bow.
Yeah.
Dude, that is sick.
He had made it
so
in
he was
his
just
own
tranquilo.
shop. He was just tranquilo. He's just like, yeah, I'm looking for elk. And you know, if I find one, I'm going to throw it in the river. I'll hike out, grab my buddies. And he could care less. He was just zen. It was amazing. And I was like, there's something there. That guy.
That was an impression on you.
It was an impression.
That you probably didn't realize at the time, but like it made a mark.
It made a mark.
Damn.
And so so it's interesting because I started rifle hunting just because I think a lot of people, that's sort of the gateway.
That's what you do.
In,
yeah, that's your gateway drug.
And then so rifle hunted very unsuccessfully. And then I ended up getting back in touch with a buddy from study abroad.
Okay.
So I hadn't talked to him in about 15 years. And my buddy Cody, shout out to Cody, who's now living on a sailboat, super inspirational dude. He was cooking chili, and we had lived in Chile together. And he's like, I was cooking chili and I was thinking about Chile, and I thought, Daniel, I wonder how that dude's doing. And he just gave me a call.
Oh, that's cool.
And out of the blue, gave me a call, and he had gotten into bow hunting. And I was like, man, that is amazing. I've been struggling with rifle hunting. I'm trying to get into, just learning more about it. He's like, well, if you want to go bow hunting, join me.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, I'm in.
That's it.
I was in. And I got the bug. And I put in so much time that first year. And in many ways, it also set a very false expectation because I tagged out. I had a mule deer tag.
Yeah.
And on day 4, I got my shot in the morning, and that was my first animal that I ever took.
Wow.
Was with a bow, mule deer.
Were you solo?
At that time, yes, I was hunting. So we had a camp together, Cody and I.
Yep.
But I was off on my own.
Yeah, you guys would go your separate ways.
Yeah, he would go and
Did you know how to break that animal down?
So because in previous hunts, we had gotten elk before, but I hadn't been the one to shoot it.
Oh, that's great.
And so I had, and I'm very OCD, so I had watched a million videos. I'd sort of spent a whole bunch of time. But I'll tell you, after that shot, I mean, you know how it is, right? The adrenaline, all of those pieces. But I was so overwhelmed with how much effort I'd put in and the feeling of what happened after that shot. Mm-hmm. So ended up tracking him. I'm shaking, ended up thanking him for his life and brought him home. Every single bite of that mule deer, my family savored. It was such an incredible experience, and I was hooked. And I was like, all right, I'm in.
Yep.
And I don't think I will ever not hunt as a result of how much of an impression that experience made for me.
Mm. Have you got a chance to stick a bull yet?
I haven't.
Is this the year?
This is the year.
What are you going to do different? What do you need to fix?
That's a great question.
I mean, that's that's the most boiled down question. Like, you got to do something different because what you're doing is not working yet.
So this past year, I had interactions with bulls every single day I was out.
Dang.
Bugles. I wouldn't.
That'll work.
So bugles back and forth, chatting. I've improved my calling. And so I can get them to talk to me. I can't always get them to come in, but I can at least get some communication going. That's huge. I'll say I'm actually really proud of this. Even though I haven't stuck a bull, I passed up an opportunity this year because of the ethical decision around it.
That's mad respect.
So I had at 25 yards broadside, I had a bull walking in, but I had a patch of a clear spot that I could see torso. I couldn't see where the vitals were in relation. Right. And I was at full draw, and I just needed a step this direction, a step that direction.
Are you staring through your peep?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
full draw.
How do you even tell? Am I going to slam dunk the guts? Is it going to be lungs?
And I was full draw, and I had that moment of like, I'm probably going to think about this all season or all off season, but the right thing to do is to let down.
That's maturation, man.
And so that sense of it's not about just walking home with something, it's the willingness to pass that up for the right reasons was a big shifting point. And I think that has helped me go into the woods a lot more relaxed. So I'm anticipating going in a lot more relaxed. I think the other thing I'm also going to do, I've spent a whole bunch of time tinkering, but also working with some of the mental pieces around just shot sequence and reducing the amount of target panic. I'm working on ironing out some of those pieces. Exactly.
That's what target panic is. It's just an anxiety.
And maybe this is woo-woo, but I'll say like, I think the more relaxed you are, the more opportunities you get.
Oh, and dude, you make better decisions relaxed. So for example, I've said this on this pod, it's hard to not bring up new ideas, right?
Yep.
Because that's 52 podcasts a year times 9. But
it's a lot.
When I started killing elk finally, consistently, I would usually not be as picky on the first one of the year. And I was getting 2 bulls every year. And on the second one, I'd be way more pickier.
Yeah.
And I learned how much additional time I had on bulls, whether I called them in or snuck in.
Yeah.
I was starting like, okay, I'm not going to shoot this bull, but I would have shot him there. And then all of a sudden I realized if I hadn't shot him there, holy shit, he came all the way around here. He's there. He's there. Now he's quartering away. Actually, that first shot I would have taken was slightly quartering too. Totally. I might have hit just one lung. I have more time than I think. It's because I'm more relaxed. I'm more calm around the bull. And so you're still going to be excited. You're still going to be amped. But to your point, time needs to slow down, not speed up for you to have success. And in the beginning, time goes by fast where when you took that shot and hit the branch, I'm not even certain you looked through your peep or ranged him or remembered what the distance was. Like you can almost black out and then be like, I don't even know what the hell just happened. Absolutely. And that's when time goes by fast, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Which is why, so I think the preparation for this year is a lot of the mental pieces, right? Clearing out all the mental clutter and setting myself up to be able to be really present when I'm there. Right? It's even less about the outcome. If I'm good in the process and I'm doing the process right, that's a success.
And aren't we lucky as elk hunters to have a process?
Totally.
Like, I feel like we are blessed as elk hunters to have a physical requirement that's like, okay, I guess I don't have to be into shape, but it's sure as shit not going to hurt to be in pretty good shape. Might enjoy this a little bit more, might be able to cover a little bit more ground, might create a few more additional opportunities, and might be able to get that elk packed out and help my buddy better because I'm not broken. So there's just no downside to being fit. There's no downside to shooting your bow in a bunch of different positions. You know, the last thing I want to experience, Daniel, is be elk hunting and have a shot on a bull and be like, God dang, that whole thing was just awkward. I'd never been in that position. I never had to hold my bow back that long.
Shooting with your pack on.
You know, like I want to have exposure to it all. And we can control that versus the flip-flop shooting at 20 yards in our backyard that makes us all feel good. Versus the high heart rate, different angles, holding your bow, the wind, all that kind of stuff.
And the elk are never going to make it easier for you.
No.
They don't want to live. They do. I know. They're picky like that.
They want to be
selfish
alive.
like that. I know.
So the name of your podcast one more time.
Sex and the Psyche.
When you met your wife on that backpacking trip, was she a therapist, psychotherapist as well at the time?
She already was a therapist. And, so I had moved out to Colorado. I was working in advertising and thinking about going back to school.
Oh, okay.
And so when we met, one of the things we were flirting about is I was thinking about going back to school, and she's like, I could really use a male counterpart for my business. And I was like, well, like, if we're working together, if we have spouses, they might get jealous. And she's like, oh, well, maybe we'll have to, be married to each other instead. And in the flirting of sort of building out that idea and the dream of building something together, we also had all of these other areas of overlap.
Yeah.
And so she started the business, and then I came in as the male counterpart for her.
I love it.
Yeah.
So if you were to look at your podcast with Dan, and guys are still tuned in, I think they are.
We'll see.
Can you give us the distilled takeaways, and honestly even provide homework to the audience so that we are getting something out of this podcast today for personal development?
So I'll say, own something in your relationship where you're in charge, right? Lead with something that helps your partner, advances what you're doing. Right? So I think become the expert somewhere in your relationship would be a massive takeaway. Separation is in the preparation, as you always say. And so do some of the practical pieces to get those things in line so that you get to go into the woods with a clear mind and you don't have all of those other things hanging on you in the background. You did everything you could to let all that stress go because you left things in a good state of being rather than a chaotic state of being. And then I think the final piece is come home and close the loop, right? What did you learn that made you a better person, and how do you tell your partner about that, right? What are the things where you realize your life is out of place and you're going to make those changes and be the best version of you, right? How are you going to say, wow, I put a lot of effort into this and I learned something about myself, and you know what? That's going to shape how I live my life moving forward, because we are so blessed to get to spend that time in the woods, right? Every single moment, I feel more alive in the woods than I do anywhere else.
Yeah, man.
And it is magic. And the more we can share that, the more you can bring good things into everybody's life around you because of that special moment you get in the woods for yourself.
Yeah.
If you share that, people will feel that difference. And the more we can share that, the more we can give that to others, I think it does a huge service to yourself, to your marriage, to your family, to your community, to the world at large. And I also think it creates a totally different relationship to what hunters are.
We need that.
And we need that. And so the more we can share the gifts of what we get in those special moments that we all know, I think the world's a better place.
This is my friend Daniel, all the way from Colorado, flew out here just to do this to help you guys. Appreciate it. This is very selfless for you to come out here, share this awesome knowledge. And he does not have Instagram. Nope. He does not have for people to reach out to you, they're going to have to probably go find your podcast.
Sex in the Psyche is probably the best way to.
And you already have a full season of pods there.
We have a full season. We're working on season 2. We're building that out. We're going to be navigating a whole bunch of different subjects and covering really good information, right? We're talking to perimenopause experts. So if you understand what changes your wife is going through in terms of hormones and
that day's coming for me, I need to learn this stuff.
Well, it's and if the more you understand it, the more supportive you are.
Absolutely.
And all those pieces, right? Become the expert in your relationship, and your partner is part of the relationship. So anyway, that's, I would say, the best way to find us. Also, the Intimacy Institute is the name of our therapy practice. And
what's the website?
So www.intimacyinstitute.org. We have video courses for working on your relationship, for sexual dysfunction. So I do a lot of erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation for men.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a whole different conversation, but it's basically how can you show up as your best self? And so we have video courses on that. The podcast is on there as well. And if anybody has questions and wants to submit any questions that they would like us to answer on the pod, we're very open to that as well. Use us as a resource, because there's not a lot of places where hunting and therapy overlaps, but I think we need more.
Yeah. I mean, I can't put this eloquently, so forgive me. I don't want to ruin the vibe, but there's not a lot of people in your space that, I don't want to use the word woke, but maybe that's the right word. It's just people in your...
There's not a lot of people who speak hunter and speak therapy.
Thank you. Took the words out of my mouth. That's what I was trying to say. And I think that's unique. And I really respect it, man. Like I do. I sincerely, that's unique.
Thank you.
And it's cool. I've never known of a resource until today.
Yeah.
Seriously. And that's cool. And there's no shame in therapy. There's no shame in trying to make yourself better. In fact, there is shame in thinking you are too good for something like that. Like that's a hubris that's coming your way. Like you need, we are fortunate to have hunting, but it would be unfortunate if you thought your shit didn't stink.
Totally.
For lack of a better term.
Well, I'll end with an analogy around that, right?
Okay.
The bow doesn't lie, right? If it's tuned, if it's dialed, if you got the right arrows, it's you. Yep. It is not the bow that is missing that shot, right? So take the responsibility, fix your shit, and then let that arrow fly.
This is my dude, Daniel. Separation is in the preparation. Go check out his website. We'll catch you on the next one.
Hell yeah.